Things are falling all over here. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is David Novak. I was tagged by Nicole at Noteworthy Fiction to do the favorite people tag. The favorite people tag was invented by Gareth at Books, Songs, and Other Magic. I would recommend both of their channels. In the description box, I will put a link to Nicole's version of the tag as well as Gareth's original version of the tag. This tag consists of 9 prompts. Number 1, name your favorite author. Now, you might have expected that I was going to say M.I. Finley, since I have talked so much about him on this channel. When it comes to history, when it comes to ancient history, there is none other. But for the sake of this video, I am going to say Dante. Of course, the idea of favorite is something that really is always in flux. I am just making these designations for the sake of this video. I generally do not create a hierarchy of my favorite authors, so to speak. I like everybody differently. This is a biography of sorts of Dante, which I am pulling down to show you, not because I recommend that you read it. I have not read this volume. All of the biographical information that you might need from Dante, you are likely to pick up in any introduction to any volume of whatever text of his that you happen to be reading. I have a special relationship with Dante, and so I am not suggesting that his writing is for everybody. It may well be that another person will not have the same kind of special relationship with Dante as I did. Number 2, name your favorite comedy actor or comedian. I don't keep up on everybody who is in comedy these days, and most of them I find stale after a while. The films of Charles Chaplin have never staled for me, so I will anoint him as my favorite comedy actor. When I was young, the conventional wisdom had that you had to make a choice between Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton, and Buster Keaton was the correct answer, the intellectual preference. However, I never preferred Keaton over Chaplin. I did like Chaplin, and I like all of his movies, though I have not seen them in ages. His old ones, What Is It, The King in New York, Monsieur Verdot, and so forth. But City Lights and Modern Times, it's all just wonderful stuff to me. So I will go with him. However, the prompt also asked about comedian, and one should not neglect ancient Athens, where comedy was invented, and we don't know too much about a lot of those ancient comedians, but we do have some works left by Aristophanes, and so I will give him a shout out for my favorite comedian. There really could be no other. Number 3, name your favorite dramatic, serious actor or actress. I believe nowadays we say actor for both male and female practitioners of the art. And a lot of people who have done this tag have said Frances McDormand, and I will also go with Frances McDormand. She was in the televised version of this. She also did a marvelous rendition of Lady Macbeth in black and white film opposite Denzel Washington. I've never seen anything with her in it that I didn't like. Number 4, name your favorite political figure, past or present. For me, that, if we're talking past, well, they're all probably past at this point, but Abraham Lincoln, this is a case of he is probably the political figure of the past that I know best. I just thought I would show you this marvelous CD edition of the debates he had with Frederick Douglass, well worth your listening to. You can get it in a book form, worth reading, and I particularly like the Library of America 2-volume set of Lincoln's speeches and writings, which also includes the debates in full. So I will say Lincoln. Were I to talk about a political figure in my lifetime, I might very easily say Jimmy Carter, president. Number 5, name your favorite film writer or director. That would probably be Bela Tarr, or you might say Tar Bella, known for his movie Werckmeister Harmonies. That was where I first encountered his talent. After that, he did The Man from London, I believe. Before that, he had done Satan Tango. I loved all of those movies. Some of the earlier films I did not care for so much. And his last film, the one about the horse, the Turin horse, I was only able to make it through part of the way. It was so bleak and dire that I had to quit watching. But he probably is my favorite director, though I have not seen anything by him in a long time. Early on, it would have been a tie between him and the Taiwanese director Ho Xiaoshen, whose City of Sadness and Good Men, Good Women made or left deep impressions on me. In his case, his earlier films I liked better. His later films left something to be desired, always visually interesting to watch. I, of course, have a Taipei connection, so that bolsters his rating in my mind. Number 6, name your favorite new discovery. This is a prompt which, whilst I was preparing for this tag, I somehow omitted to think about. So I don't have a lot as far as new discoveries. The YouTube channel Noteworthy Fiction is really marvelous from what I have seen of it so far. So I will say that Nicole and her channel Noteworthy Fiction are my favorite new discovery. Name your favorite musician or singer is number 7. As far as musician, it is hard not to say Riccardo Muti. Coming from Chicago, he was the director of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra for a while, and his imprint upon the classical music scene here has been indelible. He has an emeritus status now and comes back to conduct regularly, but perhaps not as frequently. However, I am going to take this in a different direction and suggest David Rovics, sorry, I'm trying to rhyme his name with mine, David Rovics, who is a protest singer. And the song on this album, Contras, Kings, and Generals, was where I first heard him. And he is an indefatigable force. Whenever there is injustice occurring someplace in the world, David is there singing about it, writing songs and singing about it. I will put some links, if I can find them, in the description box, including his song about the rent situation in Portland, where he hails from. Number 8, name your biggest inspirational person. There are so many inspirational people around that it is hard to know where to look. I might easily say Jimmy Carter. He entered his presidency with so much nefarious, diabolical action against him. Of course, most any president coming from the Democratic Party these days has had to face that. But I believe he was the first. As he made his bid for a second term, of course, his successor, Ronald Reagan, was in secret dealings with the hostage takers in Iran. At the time, that kind of covert action would have seemed inconceivable. Time has borne out that such was indeed occurring. And so he had that against him whilst he was president. But then in his time after leaving office, he has led an exceptional and exceptionally inspirational life. We had great hopes for Barack Obama, and Barack Obama's time since leaving office has certainly not lived up to the level of Jimmy Carter. Of course, nobody else has, and it was never even expected of anyone else. But hats off, I should take this one off, to Jimmy Carter for the life that he has lived in the public eye since leaving office. However, taking it back to history, I don't believe you can find a historical personage more inspirational in the United States than Frederick Douglass, the most photographed man alive. He is also represented in the Library of America by 2 volumes, which I heartily recommend. As with Lincoln, his volumes should be on the shelf of every American citizen, well thumbed, if you will. This was his second autobiography. He wrote 3. I did not read the first, but after reading this, I went on to the third, and that is must read for everybody, I think. You cannot but feel inspiration that such a man lived. And then let me take the inspirational person prompt one step further and talk about people that I have known personally. So let me say Blanche Lewis, who was my voice teacher. She also was the founder and artistic director of the Opera Factory, a small opera company in the city. And she is not alone of her type. I have since seen other single-minded, strong, founders of opera companies particularly, that just against all adversity manage to keep the company intact and to get the production on. And it's really marvelous to have known somebody such as that, and even to have worked for her. She sadly is deceased, but her example lives on in my heart, to be sure. And then another example of somebody currently living. Let me talk a little bit about Jeffrey Moy, the founder of the Heritage Museum in Chicago. During the time of COVID, he was forced to vacate his previous magnificent premises, and he is now in a different location on the south side. There had been some talk about possibly moving into an abandoned bank building on the south side, but with our current refugee crisis in Chicago, funding has been cut from the arts, and so the future of this possible move is in question. Nevertheless, in his 80s, possibly even his late 80s, he is another indefatigable shepherd of the arts. The collection at the Heritage Museum certainly rivals anything that you can find in the Art Institute. If you come to Chicago, I highly recommend taking a stop there to see it. So, number 9 is tag some people. I believe most booktubers have done this tag already. I have seen a lot of versions of this tag, so I will leave that in the air. If you are inspired by any of these prompts and feel inclined, then please consider yourself tagged. I would like to thank Nicole for tagging me, and I would like to thank Gareth for putting together this really marvelous tag, something a little bit different from the usual fare, which is so book exclusive in its focus. Thank you for stopping by my channel.